Hello, it's me again, Cabria, and as promised, I'm here to show you which books I read in June. I'm at Jeremiah's house, like I said I would be, and for June I had wanted to read at least 15 books since I am behind on my monthly reading goals, and I wanted to read as strictly LGBTQ plus books as possible since it was Pride Month. And I think I did a pretty decent job of meeting my goals. So the first book that I read is Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating. And it's by Adiba Yegadar. I really hope that I pronounced her name right. But, okay, so this book, I got this book because I read her book, The Henna Wars. And I was so excited about The Henna Wars, but I was kind of disappointed, to be honest, because I just didn't like any of the characters. But I like these two main characters much more than I did the last two in the Henna Wars. But basically in this one, obviously fake dating is involved, but Hani, she is out to her parents but not out to her friends or anyone at school. And when she finally comes out, because they're constantly trying to pressure her into dating a guy, and she's like, I have a girlfriend. And she tells them that, I think she tells them that she's bi. Yeah, she tells them that she's bi. And they don't believe her, and they feel like it's just to get her out of going on the dates with the guys they want her to go to. So then she decides that she's going to lie and tell them that she's dating someone else. And she lies and tells them that she's dating Ishu. And then she asks Ishu to go along with it. Issue's in, she's not out to her parents or anyone at school, so anyone at all, and she doesn't want to agree to fake dating, but then she wants to make her parents proud and wants to up her sister, so she wants to become head girl, and she can't do that without the support of the school, but she's kind of a loner, so she agrees to fake date Hani because she'll have an in with like the more popular crowd. And then, as always, they fall in love. I liked it better than I did the Henna Wars. I just felt like there was so much that wasn't resolved, and that's just more me because I feel like every question ever needs to be answered. But for what it was pretty okay. Then I read The Ghost We Keep by Mason Deaver, and I read Mason Deaver's Non-Binary, and I read their book, I Wish You All the Best, earlier this year. I think it came out in 2019. And I had really enjoyed it, so I was really excited about this one. And just like in I Wish You All the Best, the main character is non-binary, but even though the main character is non-binary, the story isn't necessarily about that. The story is about the loss of his older brother and how he's, getting through that and what's happened after he died and where he is now. And it kind of hurt a little bit, but it was a good book. It reminded me, from the way it's handled, it reminded me a bit of History's All You Left Me and We Are Okay, and I'm blanking on the title. When I Was With Her, that's what it's called, I think. I liked it. Then I read Meet Cute Diary by Emery Lee. Emery Lee uses EM pronouns, I think. EMR, I think. But so this one is another story about fake dating. So in this one, pretty sure Noah has this blog where he sets up, Noah's trans, and he has this blog about meet cutes for trans people, and he creates these stories that he passes off as real to give Trans kids hope that they could have a meet cute and happily ever after. But of course, some troll was like, these are all fake stories and these are all the holes that I poked into them, and creates a whole elaborate blog poking holes in literally every single story. So Noah meets Drew. He thinks Drew's cute, and Drew's like, we should fake date to save your blog. However, Drew's a piece of work. That's all I can say. And then there's another character who I like, but I don't really know how to talk about it without spoiling what happens. So I'm gonna leave it alone and leave it up to your imagination. Then I read She Drives Me Crazy by Kelly Quinlan. And now this one is yet another story about fake dating. But it's also an enemies to lovers. So basically, I always have to look at the summer to remember characters' names. Scotty is the main character. She's a basketball player. She has an ex who used to be on the basketball team, but hated that they were never like winning or anything. So she switched to another school with the better basketball team and broke up with Scotty in the meantime. And Scotty has been differences in and all heartbroken and sad or whatever. But then Irene comes into the picture, and Irene is a cheerleader, and they kind of been enemies. Not even real enemies, but like, you know, when one character is kind of like, I view you as an enemy, even though the other character is kind of like whatever. So it's kind of like that, and it's because Irene had her car towed at a party. But there's a story behind that, but we don't find out until later in the story. But basically, they agree to fake date because Scotty wants to get back at her ex. What is her ex's name? I don't even think her ex's name isn't in the summary. I don't remember. I think it's Tally. I think Tally is the ex. So anyway, she wants to get back at Tally. And so she uses Irene. And now Irene is out to her. I think Irene is out to her parents, but not out to the school. Is Irene out to her parents? I don't remember. I think she's out to her parents. I think they're both out to their parents. And then Irene might not be out. I truly do not remember. I go through so many books, I don't remember. But Irene's problem is that she can't tell her parents. Her parents don't take her cheerleading seriously. And she wants to win Student Athlete of the Year so she can get this cheerleading scholarship. Since she doesn't believe her parents would be willing to pay for her to go to school for cheerleading or whatever. But she had used her allowance, her work money or allowance money or something to pay for a cheer camp. And now that her parents want her to pay her back because they got in a car accident with each other, she wants, her parents want her to pay for the insurance or whatever. And Scotty agrees to give her money from working over the summer to pay for that if they fake date. And then of course things happen and they fall in love. I was like, that was such a long drawn out explanation because like my mind was just blanking every time I tried to say something. But then I read Ruined Song by Julia Ember, and I was so excited about this story, but I was super disappointed. I just felt like it was slow going for a while, but then like towards the ending, it just felt really rushed. And then I hated the ending itself, which I don't really know how to talk about it without spoiling anything, so I won't. I just feel like if what I assume the ending means is actually what it means, then I feel like the main character should have had more common sense than she did. But basically in this story, Candace, there are sages. I'm pretty sure they're called. Sages are people who has magic when they sing. Like, their singing is magical or whatever. They can do certain stuff. So she's forced to torture the country. The nobility of the country with her singing. And she doesn't want to. And she reunites with a childhood friend, and, you know, eventually love happens. So much more complicated than that, but I have no idea how to talk about it without, like, spoiling everything, because I'm not great at explanations. But I was just really disappointed by it. It just felt kind of, like, slow and then rushed. And now the most disappointing book that I read in June, The Friend Scheme by Kel Dietrich. This was the most disappointing book I've read. I don't even know. I had read, in 2018, I had read his book, The Love Interest. And at the time, it didn't mention anything about it being gay. There was no marketing or anything for it. So I was surprised that it was. When I was reading it, I was like, you know what? This would be so much better if these two characters were supposed to be together instead of these. Because in The Love Interest, these kids, they're raised to be love interests. They're raised. And then after a certain age, they get put into categories: the bad guy, the nice guy, the bad boy, the nice guy. And they're raised, and then they're sent out. Two of them, one of each, will be sent to a girl that they feel like will one day have potential to be super important in the country. They want somebody to spy on them, so they need one of the love interests to win their love and then spy on them for the rest of their life. They're both sent out. And I was like, it'd be better if these two fell in love instead of, like, one of them winning the girl. And I wasn't actually expecting that to happen, and then it did. And I was like, oh, it is gay. So I was so excited for this. And my friend had read Love Interest last year, and she really enjoyed it. So we were both super excited for this because this came out last year. And so we read this together in June, and this was so disappointing. I don't want to say I've never hated a book so much, because there are definitely books I've hated more than this, but this book was so annoying to get through. The amount of times the characters said dude to each other was annoying as is. The dialogue was awkward and annoying. The main character's thought process were sometimes super awkward and annoying. The story itself just didn't flow right. It was so disappointing. I've never been so disappointed. I don't know if that's true, but that was so disappointing. And then I read I'll Be Home for Christmas by Mason Deaver, which is the same author of The Ghost We Keep, and I Wish You All the Best. I'll Be Home for Christmas is a novella that is based after I Wish You All the Best. It's like a little short story of their first Christmas together. After that, I read Darling by Kay Ankrum. And now, I love Peter Pan, and I love gay stuff. And this was supposed to be a queer Peter Pan retelling. I kind of feel like they used queer to... I don't think queer was the right word, because there are queer side characters. But the main character, neither Wendy nor Darling, as far as we know, have any queer inclinations. And so that was kind of disappointing. I was like, oh, queer Peter Pan retelling, yay, but neither of them are queer. But a few of the side characters are, like Eleanor, Wendy's best friend, and Tinkerbell, and Theodore, and I love him. He's asexual. And obviously Tinkerbell's girlfriend, Omino Tago. I feel like there may have been somebody else. There's probably a couple of people I'm missing. Like, I think Charles and Winnie. I was never fully sure if they were actually, like, a thing or just really close friends. And so, like, because I couldn't tell if they were being seriously together or, like, it was all just like a joke between, you know, two comfortable guys. I don't know. And I don't know about, what was his name? Was it Slightly? It may have been Slightly. I don't know. But I don't know for sure. But yeah, a few of the side characters were queer, but like neither character you come for Peter Pan about were queer, and I feel like that was disappointing. And queer Peter Pan retelling may have been like a little too loose. But it was pretty interesting, and I like the way that they handled Peter Pan. I like the way that they handled him as a character and why he is the way he is and why he does, and like breaks it down kind of like mentally in a way, not like a whole lot, but like they do it a little bit in a way that you're like, I can see that. So it was interesting. It was a pretty quick read, because I did force myself to read like 3 books, a novella and a graphic novel to meet my goal the last like 3 days of the month, and that was one of them. Then I read We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. And I've been wanting to read this for a few years. Like, I started a couple years ago and just never finished it, so I finally read it. And this one, so the story isn't about romance in and of itself, but the main character, I assume, is a lesbian, and then, like, the original person that she was briefly with is bi, is my assumption. So basically, in this story, what's the main character's name? Mabel? No, Marin. Marin is the main character, and Mabel is the other girl. Marin, she is in New York for school. She's from California. She went to New York for school. And to everybody back in California, she kind of just disappeared because her granddad, quote unquote, died. Like, he died, but like there was never any body found or whatever, so they mostly just assumed that he died because people are pretty sure he walked into the ocean, but they never found his body. So that among a few other things traumatized her. She ran to New York without like talking to anybody, and for like 4 months she didn't have contact with anybody, and her best friend / almost possible potential girlfriend finally flew in to visit her after being ignored for 4 months, and she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna fly to see you. And she flew out there, and finally, after a lot of awkwardness and a lot of stilted conversations and misunderstandings, Marin finally like disclosed what really happened, why she did what she did, and everything else. And then, you know, they figure out that they are okay, even though they probably won't ever be romantically involved again. They were still best friends first and foremost. And so when I had looked up an article about it, the author was like, this is when two friends, you know, turn into romance, and what's on the other side of that. So I think that's cool. And then I read The Passing Playbook by Isaac Fitzsimmons. This is what I read yesterday. This is what I read last night, and I just barely managed to finish it before midnight. This story, I like how I just read this and I already forgot name. Spencer is the main character, and he went to this one school. He lives in a kind of conservative, like in a smaller town, so it's kind of conservative. And he went to this one school, and he came out as trans and was like transitioning and everything. He got so many, you know, threats and stuff. And then the school went on lockdown because of a threat to his life or whatever. So after that, he had to switch schools, and he's going to this private school now. My leg is asleep. He's going to this private school now. And he meets this dude named Justice, and he's like, oh, he's cute. But then everyone wants him to try out for soccer. Now, he was on a girls' soccer team pre-transition. And he was great, and he led them to victory. But now, you know, he's transitioned. And he hasn't really played soccer on a team since then. And they want him on the team, but he's not out at this school because they're scared of what could happen and them putting a target on it. Even though the school he's going to, they say that they're the most liberal school in the town or whatever, but you know, things could happen. So he's not out. But finally, but not finally, but he kicks the ball at this dude's head, and the dude is like freaking excited about it because he knew that was a really good kick, and he was like, "Coach, did you see that?" And so they basically blackmail him into trying out for the soccer team. His parents are like, no, because they're scared, because even though they're scared of him being on a boys' team, so he does it behind their backs. He does it anyway. Stuff happens. And there's this dude named Justice. He met on the first day, and then he thought he was cute. Then Justice was kind of a butt about him being on the soccer team, because Justice is also on the soccer team. But the stuff happens. And then, because there's a female on his birth certificate, it still says female. Because Ohio, they live in Ohio. They don't let you change your gender on your, like, official documents or whatever. When that came to light, even though, you know, he wasn't out or whatever, and they didn't fully understand, like, the coach assumed it was a clerical error, he wasn't allowed to play because, he wasn't allowed to play because it still said female, and this is obviously not all boys school team. And Justice has super religious, homophobic, transphobic parents. So that creates its own problems, even though Justice himself is gay. I feel like that was like a really spoiler heavy summary, so my bad. I don't want to watch this anyway, it's okay. That is not all that I read. I also read 6 graphic novels. I read Heartstopper by Alice Oman. There's Nick and Charlie. Charlie is openly gay, and he was blue. He wasn't like, he was outed. So now he's openly gay because he was outed. Was with this dude kind of in secret, and then he realized the dude mostly just wanted a convenient dude to kiss or whatever. So Charlie's like, never talk to me again. He's gonna make friends with Nick, who's a rugby player, and Nick convinces him to join rugby, and then eventually stuff happens and they get together. And then I read the second Heartstopper Volume 2. And then I read Heartstopper Volume 3. And then I read Heartstopper Volume 4. The physical copy isn't out in the US until December, but you can read all of these on Webtoon or Tumblr. And then I read The Magic Fish. I literally have no idea where I put my physical copy of the Magic Fish set. I literally had it the other day, and now I have no idea where it is. So, I really liked it though. And The Magic Fish, the main character, he's like 13 or so, I think. I'm trying to remember his name. I kind of blanked his name. But he's gay. He likes one of his friends. He's scared to tell his parents about, like, one of his best friends realizes it. Because he has 2, a female and a male, and I forget their names. But the female friend realizes it, thinks he should tell his parents because she thinks his parents will understand. But he's scared, and he wants to come out. But at the same time, his family's from Vietnam. And his parents, like, speak a little English, but, like, they still mostly speak Vietnamese. And he doesn't have the right word for gay in Vietnamese or whatever. He went to the library and everything, and I had a librarian help him. So he's scared to come out. And kind of, like, I don't know, I'm gonna say love language, even though I don't think that's necessarily the right way, but, like, kind of his mom's and his love language, they kind of read stories together to bond. It was originally supposed to help his mom, like, better understand the language or whatever. But they mostly read stories just to, like, spend time together, be together, to be in each other's presence and to communicate. And I love the stories because they were kind of like, you know, most of the fairy tales we all know, stories similar to Cinderella and The Little Mermaid. When his mom finds out, which unfortunately wasn't from him himself, she uses the story to communicate that it's okay and she still loves him. There's a lot of other stuff in between, but I really hate this one teacher. And if you read it, you'll understand why I hate her, because I hate how she handled that situation. But anyway, the last thing I read, I also read this last night, finished it, because I was like, gotta be my goal. The Girl from the Sea. Basically, what's the main character's name? How do I forget her name? Morgan. She has a secret. She's gay, but she doesn't want to tell anyone. And she knew originally her parents, like, at least her mom wouldn't have, like, had a problem with it. But with her parents' divorce and everything going on, and her brother being so, like, mean because of it, she doesn't feel comfortable coming out. And she doesn't feel comfortable coming out to her friends. And she feels like she's somebody different around everybody. So she's like, once I get out of this town, I can be who I am. But then she meets this girl who's really a silky. And they, you know, are all happy together and lovey-dovey, and eventually she has to come out. There's so much more to that, but I truly do not know how to, like, summarize things without telling you everything. But Kelty is the name of the Silky. Kelty has saved her life, and she had kissed her because she thought it was a dream or hallucination. But because of the kiss, Kelty was able to walk on 2 legs for a while. So they spent a few days together, all lovey-dovey. Eventually, Kelty had to go back to sea, though. So those are the books that I read in June. Those are my Pride reads. That's 16 books technically. I mean, like 10 actual books and then like 6 graphic novels. But they're all mostly queer. They remember, like, let's go through this. We're gonna do a lesbian bi rep. This was non-binary. I think the main character may have been bi. I don't remember. But if anything else, one of the older brother, 2 other characters are like either gay or bi. This is bi queer rep, lesbian rep, maybe bi, I don't remember. Lesbian, gay, side characters, possibly gay, asexual, lesbian, lesbian and bi, trans and gay, and like side characters, non-binary, and possibly like other orientations, because they never really specify for the people in the QSA. Gay. Oh, there are side character lesbians. Gay. Oh, I forgot. Non-binary, queer. Gay. Lesbian. Anyway, those are my Pride reads. Those are June 2021 reads. And I'm rather proud of myself this month, because the last few months I slacked so hard on reading. And if I hadn't spent like a week reading 1 million words of million-word fan fiction, I could have read more. But I did. So, anyway, see you next time.